Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In this episode, we talk about the allegations of sexual harassment against the Haryana Sports Minister Sandeep Singh. We also talk about the brutal killing of a 20-year-old woman in Delhi and how a BJP functionary is one of the accused in the matter. But first, we talk about the tragedy that took place in Uzbekistan. Last year in October, we came to know that a total of 70 children had died in Gambia, and that these deaths were linked to a cough syrup that was manufactured in Haryana. And now, less than 4 months later, 18 children have died in Uzbekistan after allegedly drinking another cough syrup that was made by a pharmaceutical company in Noida. In this segment, Indian Express's Anonna Dutt joins us to talk about the case and the concerns it raises. Anonna, we first heard about these deaths after the Uzbekistan's Ministry of Health issued a statement last week on Tuesday. Talk about exactly what the ministry said about it.
So basically the ministry said that there were 21 children in one Uzbek city who got ill, and out of them 18 died. And these deaths were linked to a syrup which has paracetamol and anti-phlegm agents manufactured by an Indian company. And then when they tested the syrup, they did find ethylene glycol, which is the same as the contaminant that was found in the syrups that were exported to Gambia. But other than that, what they also noted in the same statement was that these children who were affected had taken the medicine without consulting a doctor. It wasn't on prescription, and they were anyways not supposed to take paracetamol. And secondly, they were taking it in a dose which is not recommended for their age. So these are two statements that they had given in, and also what we learned from one of the medical centers in the city. There was a letter from them going around in which was reported upon in their local news. So that basically said that the children had kidney damage and kidney failure, and they were given hemodialysis, but unfortunately 18 of them did still pass away.
And did the Uzbekistan Ministry of Health mention the Indian company that manufactured this syrup?
So they did mention it's a Noida-based company called Marion Biotech. And they also mentioned another company that was importing the syrup to their country. And from what we know from the Ministry of External Affairs as well, they are taking action against the importing company right now.
And Anonna, this is the second such incident that we are seeing in less than 4 months, where cough syrups are imported from India and then there are these deaths. And in the case of Gambia, we saw the World Health Organization raise concerns about it as well. And this definitely puts India's drug regulatory authority and pharma companies under a spotlight. So could you talk about the kind of concerns that have been raised about this?
So first of all, I would also like to raise the thing that in the last 2 months, I think the alert for the Gambian incident was raised in October. Since then, this is actually the third incident. The second one was in Indonesia, which was not linked to our syrups, but a very similar incident where contaminants were found in syrups and children took ill. So, I mean, it's not just in India, but of course, it does raise concern that, in two incidents in less than 2 months, we see children getting affected because of contaminants. And this was something that CDSCO, which is our apex drug regulator, has also said now that they have started a nationwide random inspection of facilities which they say are at risk of producing contaminated or not of standard quality products. So this is like an additional check to see what is going on in our factories, because the two factories that were inspected after these incidents came into light, they actually saw that there was a violation of the good manufacturing practices in these companies.
Also, Anonna, the one thing common between the Gambia incident and the one in Uzbekistan is the fact that the cough syrups had ethylene glycol. So talk about this substance a bit.
So the syrups in Gambia, they also had, in addition to ethylene glycol, something called diethylene glycol. These are two contaminants which we know about, which has resulted in such incidents before as well. In fact, there was an incident in India itself in 2020 where children died in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is something we've known about. It's a known contaminant. And what happens is in some of the syrups, to make the pharmaceutical ingredient that's there in them soluble, you have to use different solvents. So one of the solvents used is propylene glycol. Now this propylene glycol can be pharmaceutical grade, can be industrial grade. And sometimes because of that, there are these contaminants present in the solvent itself. So actually most companies do test the solvent before making the syrup. I mean, this is something known about, but still it slips up, I'm guessing.
And do we know whether any action is going to be taken against Marianne Biotech?
So right now, just like in the case with Gambia, the premises was inspected and the joint inspection by the state drug controller and the central CDSCO, they found some deviations, as they said, in the good manufacturing practices, and they halted all the production in the Noida company. And they said that any further action would depend on the report. The report that they are talking about is, of course, they've collected samples, control samples, which are samples from the same batch that was exported to Uzbekistan, which is maintained by the company as a quality control practice. That has been taken by the authorities and it is being examined in Central Drug Testing Laboratory in Chandigarh. And also they have, from what I came to know, they have lifted samples of other medicines that were being manufactured at the same facility and they've been sent for similar tests. So whatever the test result indicate, the action would be based on that. Now, if we look at the company that came into focus during the Gambia issue, they were similarly, the manufacturing was halted. And in that case, there was quite a few problems where, key test results were missing dates, missing batch numbers. There was a lot of issue with their paperwork. Their manufacturing was halted after the inspection, even though the Indian regulator has said that in the results of the samples, control samples tested from that company, they didn't find any ethylene glycol or diethylene glycol. But still, the company hasn't been opened yet.
Also, Anonna, domestically, there's not much concern because these cough syrups were only exported out of the country. But going forward, how concerned is India that these incidents will affect its reputation as a country that does export a lot of pharmaceuticals around the world?
It's definitely a concern with the government. They have raised this issue with the WHO as well when the apex drug regulator wrote to the WHO. So what they were essentially saying is that you have blamed our syrups for these deaths in Gambia, but you haven't provided us any details to actually establish a causal link. From what I've been hearing in the Ministry of Health, there was a lot of speculation that why is it, children who had E. coli, and E. coli particularly leads to stomach upset, diarrhea. Why were they given these syrups in the first place? So there's a lot of questions that were asked by, there was a panel that was set up by the government to examine documents sent over by WHO. And the panel has repeatedly written to WHO saying that, you should give us the following details so that we are able to establish a causal relation between these deaths and the syrup, which hasn't happened, and they haven't received any documents from Gambia either. So the government has actually mentioned in that letter, this is actually hurting our credibility in the international market, especially at a time when Indian pharmaceutical industry is growing.
A quick warning, the next segment contains descriptions of graphic violence. And next we talk about a hit-and-run case in Delhi. On Sunday, a 20-year-old woman named Anjali Singh was killed in Delhi after her scooter was hit by a car. But what makes this case particularly brutal is that her body was dragged by the vehicle for almost 10 kilometers, from Sultanpur to Rohini, which lies in northwest Delhi. The case is also in the spotlight because it has now emerged that one of the accused in the matter is a BJP functionary. In this segment, Indian Express's Jignasa Sinha joins us to talk about it. Jignasa, could you begin by telling us what led to Anjali Singh's death?
So, on the night of 31st December, this 20-year-old woman, Anjali Singh, she was returning from work. She works as an usher at weddings and events. And since it was a late-night event, she left the place around 12:31. And while she was returning, she met with an accident with a car, and it was initially thought that, it was a simple accident, but no, it wasn't. She got trapped between the rear tire and the car, and she was almost dragged for 10 to 12 kilometers in Delhi. This is from Sultanpuri, which is in outer Delhi, to Rohini. She was dragged along with this car for 10 to 12 kilometers on the road. And later, like the accused, they told the police that, they did not realize that the girl was, trapped under the car. And when they did, they just detangled the body and left. And when the woman's body was found, it was all her clothes, they were torn off. Her backside, it was completely scraped off. I mean, there are injuries I can't even explain. The body was found in a very bad condition. And yeah, she was immediately rushed to the hospital, and obviously she was declared dead. Meanwhile, the police were looking for these men who were in this car, and police later found that it was a Baleno car, and there were 5 men in that car who went to party at Murthal, but it was crowded, so they came back and they were partying in outer Delhi. And the men, they said that they were drunk, and they hit the girl, but they did not realize that she got tangled. And because they were playing such loud music in the car, they were not able to hear her screams or hear a body being dragged along. And these are like men who work as hairdressers or Grameen Seva driver or a ration shop owner, or one of the accused is a BJP functionary. And they said that they did not realize that the woman was under the car. And when they found that she was, they got scared, they panicked, and then they just left.
And of course, the fact that one of the accused is a BJP functionary is making a lot of news. So tell us about the kind of things that are being said about the case, especially by the opposition right now.
So, I mean, the case is like the talk of the town. A lot is being said. The Aam Aadmi Party has alleged that the case shows major security lapses in the police, and the government, one of the accused is a BJP functionary. He was inside a car where everybody was drinking and dragging somebody along for like 10 to 12 kilometers on a stretch, leaving a woman dead in the middle of the night. And also, Aam Aadmi Party has alleged that there were callers, there were locals who saw the woman being dragged, and they called the police, but the Delhi police did not respond in time. And while the Delhi police has claimed that they only received 2 to 3 PCR calls, opposition said no, there were more than 10 to 20 PCR calls made on that night. Many people saw the woman being dragged. They kept calling the police, but they could not connect with the police. And it was New Year's Eve. It's arguably one of those days where the police has high security, patrolling is done everywhere. But, this is the day where for 10 to 12 kilometers, there was not even a single policeman who saw the woman being dragged and stopped it. That's, one of the allegations from the opposition side.
And Jignasa, the accused, of course, are saying that they did not realize that her body was being dragged for 10 kilometers. But this is the part that people are questioning. So talk about that a bit, and what have we heard from Anjali's family about this?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, even like the political parties, there are the family as well, and locals, even the eyewitnesses, like a lot of people are claiming or alleging that, maybe the men are involved, maybe, like because they were drunk, maybe they did this intentionally, or they either sexually assaulted or, raped the woman. But none of these allegations have been proved right now. And also, like, the post-mortem report is pending. And prima facie, it does look like an accident. We don't know yet if the accused knew about the girl being under the car, but we know for sure that, they did not do this, they did not know the girl, and they did not rape her or sexually harass her.
And what action has been taken against these 5 men right now?
Well, initially the police had only registered an FIR against the accused under sections of rash driving and causing death due to negligence. But today the Delhi police said they have added sections of culpable homicide and criminal conspiracy. They now believe that since the accused knew that the woman was under the car after some time and they left her on the middle of the road, this is an intentional, that it was intentional that they left her there, and also they were drunk, and they conspired to flee. So police have booked them under these sections now. much stringent sections. And the police have also said that they are going to form a medical board who is going to conduct the autopsy and see, what injuries caused the woman's death and whether she was raped or sexually assaulted, or if something like that comes up. Meanwhile, all this is happening, the family is definitely furious. Many of the family members we spoke to, they still believe that, the woman was raped. Her mother, she keeps saying that, how can someone's clothes come off like that? It just can't be a simple accident. It has to be something. Those 5 accused did something wrong to my daughter. And this is not just the mother's belief, but also the locals think the same. So, around 300 to 400 people gathered outside the Sultanpuri police station today, and there was a massive protest against the police, mainly the police and the BJP, because, surprisingly, one of the accused, Manoj Mittal, who is a BJP functionary, his poster was right outside the police station. And the protesters were obviously angry. They took out the poster, they tore it, they also attacked Deputy Speaker Rakhi Billa's car, they attacked policemen. They demanded action against these accused. They said the accused should be booked under murder and rape. But the police said they cannot do that right now. They will have to wait for an autopsy report. After that, the investigation will take course. Meanwhile, police said they're also looking at CCTVs right now, what happened, and where the woman was coming from, or if the men got out during the ride or something like that. So they're seeing all that. They're also seeing the deployment on the night of December 31st. How many policemen were there? How many pickets were there? Were the pickets manned, unmanned? What's the scene? So they're going to check that. Also because Home Minister Amit Shah has ordered for an inquiry and has ordered that, the ministry needs a report immediately on the incident.
And in the end, we talk about a case of sexual harassment. On Sunday, the former India hockey captain and Haryana sports minister Sandeep Singh handed over his portfolio to Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar on moral grounds. This happened hours after an FIR was registered against him for allegedly sexually harassing a woman junior coach. After the complaint, the Chandigarh police on Saturday booked Singh for stalking, illegal confinement, sexual harassment and criminal intimidation, and also later formed a special investigation team for the matter. In this segment, Indian Express's Sukhbir Siwach joins us on a call to talk about the case. Sukhbir, what exactly are the allegations against Sandeep Singh and who is the person who made these allegations?
Shashank, as you know, Sandeep Singh is the State Minister of Haryana. He is handling 2 portfolios, Sports Department and Printing and Stationery also. He is a former captain of Indian hockey team and Olympian. So at the moment, he is facing very serious allegations of sexual harassment. In fact, 3-4 days back, a junior women coach leveled serious allegation against the minister. According to the women, the minister started harassing her even before July 2022. The coach also says that on July 1st, the minister called her to his official residence in Chandigarh on the pretext of document verification and allegedly touched her inappropriately and tried to kiss her. But according to the woman, she ran away from his cabin and failed the alleged rape attempt. The woman also says that the minister tore her t-shirt.
Right, and these are very serious allegations. But she says that when she told this to the Haryana police first, they did not help her. They instead told her to go to the Chandigarh police. Talk about why that was.
Yeah, certainly, Shashank. There are 2 types of picture in this scenario. In fact, what happened, the women coach has quoted the incident of July 1st when the minister allegedly called her to his official residence in Chandigarh. She's talking about that incident. She said the minister touched her inappropriately and tried to kiss her. Here she's talking about that particular incident. She said she informed the officials of Haryana police and Haryana sports department. But there are 2 scenarios. She's being administered by Chandigarh administration, which has its own police setup, which is called Chandigarh police. But according to the woman, earlier she had informed the officials of Haryana police because being from that state and the ministry is also from that state. So she informed the officials of Haryana sports department. This is again claim of that lady. According to the female coach, she informed the officials of Haryana sports department and Haryana police.
Okay, so since the alleged incident happened in Chandigarh, the Haryana police were reluctant. But what other things does she say came in the way of her registering a complaint?
So the woman also says that the officials whom she contacted, they told her that you can't take action against the ministry without a proof. But the lady, she kept pursuing her complaint, and 3-4 days back, senior leader of INLD, Mr. Abhay Singh Chautala, held a press conference in Chandigarh, and this women coach was also there. During the press conference, she leveled these allegations.
कुल मिला के इन्होंने मुझे काफी टाइम से, ये 4-5 महीने में बहुत मेंटली डिस्टर्ब चल रही हूँ और मैंने हर एफर्ट्स किए हैं. मैंने सीएम सर से कल भी मैंने कोशिश की, आज भी मैंने उन्हें फोन किया है. कल होम मिनिस्टर सर के घर में 3 घंटे अम्बाला खड़ी रही. पिछले 15 दिन से मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ उनसे, अनिल वी सर से बात करने की, बट सब मेरा मुद्दा सुनते हैं, सर की नॉलेज में डालते हैं, लेकिन कोई एक्शन नहीं लेता. उल्टा मुझे कहां से धमकियां आ रही हैं कि तुम पंगे लोगी तो तुम मरवा दी जाओगी. सर मेरे पास खोने के लिए अब इतना कुछ नहीं है, क्योंकि सब कुछ लगा दिया मैंने बचपन से एथलेटिक्स में, और अब जाके एक ही चीज सुनने को मिल रही है कि या तो तुमने बात नहीं सुनी, तो तुम तो बदतमीज लड़की हो, तुम जवाब दे रही हो. मेरी कोई भी हेल्प नहीं कर रहा है, और अनफॉर्चुनेटली मैंने कर लिया जितना कोशिश मैं कर सकती थी.
And Sukhbir, like you mentioned, the police had been telling her that they need proof. And you mentioned this in your report as well, that she does not have a record of the messages that Singh allegedly sent to her. What is the reason for that?
In fact, Shashank, according to the women coach, the minister contacted her through Instagram and asked her to download Snapchat. According to the complainant, he chatted and deleted the messages sent on Instagram and Snapchat. And Shashank, as you know, there are some social media platforms which have options for opting for vanish mode. It means a message disappears once the person on other side read it. This is the scenario, Shashank, where you can't have this digital evidences.
And so now what has been Sandeep Singh's response to all of this?
In fact, from day one, Sandeep Singh has been rejecting these allegations, and he has been describing these allegations as baseless. But despite that, protests are being held against him in several parts of Haryana. In a statement on Sunday, Sandeep Singh said, I am quoting his statement, the minister said, an atmosphere has been created to spoil my image. A junior coach has labelled false allegations. I want a proper investigation, which is also underway. On the basis of humanity and moral grounds, I hand over my sports department to the chief minister, who may take the next decision after the inquiry report.
आप सबको पता है कि एक माहौल क्रिएट किया गया है मेरी छवि को खराब करने के लिए, और एक खेल विभाग के जूनियर कोच ने जो एलिगेशंस, गलत फॉल्स एलिगेशंस लगाए हैं, उसकी मैं चाहूँगा कि अच्छे से जांच हो, और जांच चल भी रही है. और जब भी उसकी रिपोर्ट आती है, उस रिपोर्ट के बाद एक नैतिकता के कारण, एक इंसानियत के कारण, मैं अपना खेल विभाग जो है वो माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी को सौंपता हूँ. और जो भी रिपोर्ट आए, जो भी दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी आए, निकल कर जब बाहर आए, तो उसके बाद फिर माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी अगला फैसला लें.
Okay, so he handed over his portfolio as the sports minister. But you have written that despite that, he will still continue to enjoy the privileges and facilities of a minister in the future. Could you explain to us why that is?
Yeah, Shashank, as I told you earlier, Sandeep Singh is currently handling 2 portfolios, Sports Ministry and Printing and Stationery Department. He has independent charge of both the portfolios, both the ministries. As of now, he has offered to hand over only sports portfolio to the CM. Even if he offers to hand over both portfolios to the chief minister, but does not resign from the Council of Ministers, he'll be entitled for all facilities of a minister. Here, I would like to explain this aspect, Shashank. According to the constitutional experts, handing over a portfolio to the chief minister and resigning from the Council of Ministers are 2 entirely different matters. After handing over the portfolio to the chief minister, a legislator will still continue to be a minister, though without a portfolio. On the other hand, I would like to giving another picture. Shashank, here I would like to update you. As of now, there is no change in his portfolio. Sandeep Singh still is Minister of Sports also. As of now, there is no word from the government side. So as of now, he is handling both portfolios, despite the fact that he has made this statement yesterday.
And now, of course, the police have booked Singh and they have even formed an SIT. But have we heard anything from Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar?
Shashank, as of now, there is no official statement from the Chief Minister on this issue. But State Home Minister Mr. Anil Viz has said that he listened to the coach carefully. Mr. Viz also said he would speak to the minister concerned who is facing allegations in this case. And the Chief Minister also, Mr. Viz says he will speak to the Chief Minister also. The Home Minister also said that we would do justice in this case. And when the journalist asked from Mr. Viz about the demand of women for a CBI probe, Mr. Anil Viz said that our work is to ensure justice to all. This is the scenario as of now, Shashank.
And now there have also been some protests that have been carried out against Singh in the state by women-led organizations. So during this time, how has the opposition reacted to this?
The opposition is demanding his resignation because the nature of allegations are very serious. I would like to add the statement of Abhay Singh Chautala. Mr. Abhay Singh Chautala says that some of the offences are non-bailable. And in this scenario, the minister should not be allowed to continue in his office.
You were listening to Three Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.